All right.
Hey, hey,
Yeah,
Ember.
we made it.
Finally.
after after weeks of messing around, we finally got here.
Yeah, it only took about a month, I guess.
Yeah. What's up, Ember? I posted that it may not work right now because the stream's just starting. It may take a second for Streamlabs to connect to it, but that prompt right there will show Answerman's channel anytime you do it, and I put a QR code on screen for people too. So there's uh, there's lots of ways to get there. It's linked in the description. It's linked in the title. It's linked in the chat. Uh, and we're streaming to the Answerman channel as well. And I see not many people have showed up just yet. I know that Sunday has gotten to the point to where there's some other people streaming and stuff. But I went and posted this in all of my social media stuff, so I imagine that it will. We'll get a crowd here in a few minutes.
Okay.
Always takes a few minutes for everybody to show up,
Yeah.
but yeah. So you got the channel. Original Answerman is the URL.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna do the new original Answer Man, but because Answer Man was already taken. But
right, yeah, it's the original Answerman, I should say.
yeah.
We're not streaming to Twitch today, even though that's on screen. But what's up, Zach? Good to see you. What's up, Commander Eric?
Hi, everybody.
Bexington. How's it going? Yeah, so this is usually what's set up to be the Grateful to Know God's broadcast we do every Sunday. I try to have guests from our community on, talk a little bit about what they do, introduce people to channels they may not know, and talk about, why we do the things we do, So we originally this show was supposed to come on a couple weeks ago, and unfortunately I had a funeral to attend, and then I had some double booking stuff I messed up, and so we had to put it off for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But
I knew we'd get it done.
Yeah. The NFL playoffs, that's the religion of some too. Yeah, what's up, Mark? Good to see you. But yeah, so we finally made it here, and you've got, honestly, like there seems to be like these cliques of groups of creators and stuff that kind of hang out and help each other and things. And so whenever I came across your channel, you've got some videos that have actually done pretty well.
Little by little, yeah. The evolution, the one about monkeys got it all started. I was getting about 20 views per video, and then and the thing is I didn't even like that video, but I posted it anyway, just because nobody was watching my channel anyway. And all of a sudden, I got 13,000 views, and then all my other videos started to get watched as well. So you never know.
Yeah, and for the people here watching live today, we will the video in question we'll actually watch. It's about a 5-minute video. We'll watch and talk about it a little bit today. So your approach to you've made some videos where you talk seriously too and stuff, but like your approach to a lot of this is like have fun with it, a little bit of comedy, and you've got a background in comedy actually.
Yeah. I started. I used to do stand-up back in the 90s for a little while. I worked at the Improv for a couple of years as a regular comedian there, and I stopped because I realized it's not a very good life to be a comedian and go on the road and try to make a living. So I ended up just doing it as like a hobby, and then I moved to Manhattan. And I found out about the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, which is like cable access for anyone who lives on the island. And then that's when I started Answerman. I did a show on there where people would just email me questions about any absurd thing that they could think about. And then I'd just read them out on my show and then come up with the dumbest answers that I could think of. And it was just like a fun thing to do.
Yeah. So you had a bit of a following before.
I did actually. It was weird because every once in a while somebody would recognize me on the street, and you're just not expecting that. So yeah, I mean, it was a fun thing to do. But that was like right around when the World Trade Center thing happened. That was like 2001, and then I moved to Brooklyn after that, and then it all just stopped, and I hadn't done anything for like since for like 25 years. You know, so I'm back. I thought it'd be fun to try on YouTube and just see where it went. And I learned pretty quickly that no one will respond to your videos because no one's watching. And so the idea of people asking questions and me answering just fell apart immediately. So then I thought, well, then I found out you could do shorts. So I started to do shorts and then I came up with this character of this guy who I would have conversations with. And then I posted a short about a religious short about like, is God male or female? And that got like 9,000 views. And for me, that was a breakthrough. And then I realized that every time I posted something about religion, it would spark something, and I would get a bunch of, views. So slowly, it just sort of evolved to more of just like me sort of poking fun at religious fundamentalism, and
Right,
and now I've brought creationism, which is just a natural extension of that, into the mix.
right. I think, yeah, I think we kind of generally, like, we'll say like young Earth creationist or fundamentalist, and like, to me, there's not really, it doesn't matter whether you're proposing young Earth creation or an old Earth creation. I mean, I guess in the old Earth creation, you are at least acknowledging some science. You're not denying every bit of science like the
Yeah,
young Earth creationists
I guess
are.
that would be more the ID kind of, the intelligent design would be more like
Yeah,
old Earth.
yeah. I mean, they're still limited to like, usually, not believing in evolution and stuff. I mean, I guess you can. Here's the thing with that and all of Christianity, for that matter. Um, they all believe something different, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, right. That's it. You get into an argument with somebody, and then all of a sudden somebody else will join and say, "No, that's completely wrong. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about." And then you get into a side argument about something else, and it just keeps bouncing around because they don't even agree. Because
yeah,
what's there to latch onto except the interpretation of some crazy old stories that don't make
yeah,
a lot of sense.
yeah. I mean, to me, like, I think I don't understand, like, because it's you don't trust what science said. You're unwilling to adapt your worldview, I guess, to the findings of science. Like, no, it has to be this way when it doesn't. Look, because there's plenty of theists that believe in creation, even, and everything, and still, like, don't just straight deny evolution, genetics, and
I
all the
just always
biology responses.
I always found it just like so bizarre that like people are latching onto this mousetrap analogy. Like God, he created the tail on a bacteria because that was where that's where his evidence is.
The flagellum argument,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like, and they're latching onto that like that's proof, and it's like, yeah, that's what God did.
yeah.
He decided that one little bacterium he needed to design. Everything else just evolved, but that one little thing he had to create from scratch. He couldn't.
Well, I mean, you discuss irreducible complexity in your most recent
Right,
video, and
right,
specifically the Michael Behe version of
right,
irreducible complexity with the mousetrap,
right.
and it's a great video too. I'll wait a few more minutes. We're just now hitting 10 minutes in. I'll wait a few more minutes, and we'll take a look at the video that was originally shown to me that I found your channel, because I loved it. I loved the approach and everything. The idea behind it was just great, and um,
Well,
so we'll take a look at that in a minute.
yeah, that's probably going to be kind of like a format that I do from time to time because it just seems to work out pretty well when I'm kind of debunking and arguing both sides. It just seems to to flow very naturally, and it's a fun way. It's a fun device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, I love how Yex say evolution and then propose hyper evolution after the Great Flood. Yeah, hey, that's something that I've kind of been pointing at is they will use like science and they'll say, well, radiometric dating proves that dinosaurs aren't that old in this situation because of carbon or whatever. But then they'll turn around and you say, well, we've got, if you use like uranium lead dating, it says that it's this old, and they're like, well, you can't trust radiometric dating. And they do that thing a lot with a lot of different things, and
Yeah. It's selected the same way they interpret the Bible. They just pick they select whatever it is that they want to believe at that moment, and that's what they latch onto. Whatever works for they get their conclusion first, and then they look for the evidence to make it real in their mind. And it's good for comedy. I'll tell you, it makes my job kind of easy in fact, I come up with a lot of shorts now just by the comments that people are leaving, on my channel. I get in debates with some creationists, like, okay, well, there's a short right there. I'll do that one next. In fact,
Yeah.
that's the one I got up there right now about the number 6, about how the prophetic number 6. It's doing actually really well, and that was just a comment that somebody left about how the number 6 appears all over the place in the Bible, like that's proof of something.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of numerology stuff in the
Yeah,
Bible.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not going to get tired of it's going to be hard to exhaust all the the possible avenues for comedy.
Oh, sure.
And that's primarily what I want to do.
Well, like I wanted to. So it's funny that you say that because I have a lot of like I have a lot of respect for the stand up part of it because I wanted to do stand up at one time, and
it's not
where I'm at isn't really great for it. First of
Yeah.
all, there used to be a comedy club in Huntington, West Virginia, and it was called the Funny Bone, and they had like open mic nights and stuff, and some of my friends wanted me to go do it, and I really wanted to and stuff, and just never got around to doing it and stuff. And like I used to write a lot of like bits and stuff. I thought I was decent at it. I made my friends and other people laugh at some
that's how you
functions and
start.
stuff. But
Right.
so I definitely like that approach, and I try to like I spend a lot of time on my channel talking about the community, and I care deeply for this community, and so I spend a lot of time on that. But I also try to have fun, and if you watch any of the stuff I do whenever I'm actually talking about creationism or something, I'm having fun with that. I'm not trying to engage in serious science conversations with idiots
It's
anymore.
kind of hard to take it seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes whenever people come up here, and this is the funny thing that I say about it, and I say, like here's the issue with having conversations with creationists or theists in general, is the perfectly normal person, you're having a conversation, but you don't ever know, like you don't ever know what they're going to say, because they'll be trucking right along talking about something, and then the cart jumps off the tracks to Crazy Town, and we're talking about ghosts trying to have sex with you and stuff. Like it's just
Right.
yeah.
Like I grew up in an Italian neighborhood in New York, and I went to Catholic school, and so I was brought up with religion my whole childhood, but I never knew that younger creationism was a thing until I went to college, and I started to branch out and to see like what other people were thinking. And when I found out that there were people that thought that those stories were literal, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, it stunned me, and it still does to this day. I talk to creationists, and I'm like, "You're a grown up, right? You
Right? Yeah, yeah.
know,
That's the thing.
because I do this away with Santa Claus. I don't know how you hold on to that as like a serious Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit because a snake told them to. Like how is that? There's more evidence for the three little pigs, than there is for that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, uh, I was gonna hold up Dave Warnock's book, Childish Things, because it's like that's really the thing, right? Like it's like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. You believe all these things when you're a kid, and then like you move on, but yet there's this whole group that believes like
right,
this creationist thing, and it's not just that they believe in uh, have faith in something. It's that they have faith in the face of so much evidence to the contrary.
right, right,
And like whenever because for me, like I go looking for answers, and I used to be a creationist. I was raised that way,
right, right.
and I go looking for creation or for answers to confirm my belief. And really, oh, my kid sounds happy. And I find all these sources that contradict that, and then that gets me to really thinking about it. So I start looking at the creation stories of other cultures, and I'm
Right,
like, you know what? These can't both be true. They're, the silly people that wrote this one over here, and then that's when the light comes on, and it's like
right.
this one's just as silly. Like it's
Right, right, and
you
then you
know,
find out that like the Noah's Ark has ancient beginnings in Gilgamesh, and you see like how all this just sort of traveled around and evolved over the years, and how the stories got sort of absorbed into different cultures, and you know
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, it becomes pretty obvious pretty quickly, and it just amazes me that what is it, like 30 to 40% of Christians are young earth creationists in this country? That's the last survey
yeah.
I saw.
Well, 38% of all adults in the United States believe in creationism.
Wow.
Uh,
All
and
adults. Well,
in my state, that's according to Pew Research, and in my state, it's 47%. Yeah, yeah. Welcome to Kentucky, motherfucker. But
oh,
yeah, the and that's really the thing. That was the thing that made me start a channel, though, is because like I know I'm surrounded by people that are that way, and it's you're isolated, and
yeah.
it got to the point to where
Or,
like
like like hunkering down too. It's like
yeah,
those are crazy people.
and they're all Trump supporters too. So
Of
it's like
course, of course.
so when I
The-
look around me, I don't trust the judgment of my peers,
right,
and like
right.
so
That's kind of why I did. I sort of like started I turned Answerman into this sort of like, let's make fun of religious fundamentalism, because I just see it as like something that's really a problem in the country right now.
yeah,
And there's a ton of people that debunk, and they take it very seriously, and they're very good at debating and forming. And I have no background in that, but what I can do is just point out the absurdity in a funny way. And I think that's my contribution to the.
yeah, no, and we love it. The having as many perspectives as you can talking about the subject. I
Yeah,
mean, all the different ways in which people find it silly and mocking it or taking it serious, if that's what you want to do, like all those different things contribute to us as a community having lots of resources to look to.
right,
Um,
right.
Talk Origins. Any questions I have that I haven't come across, I can go there and look up about anything. And if
Mhm.
you're not familiar with Talk Origins, it's an amazing site. You should go check it out.
Yeah, I will.
Uh, Eric Lawson says you have the Mecca, the Ark experience, and the Creation Museum. Yeah, so that's actually important. July 6th, I will be hosting. I'm organizing the Ark Encounter protest this year at the Ark Encounter in Kentucky, and stay tuned to my channel if you're interested in more information about that. You can subscribe and hit the bell,
That's
and
in
you'll know
July.
whenever I make stuff. What is it?
That's in July, you said.
July 6th. So July is going to be a big month for us atheists in the South,
Hmm.
standing up against some of this stuff, like through the Bible Belt. It's in my area, really. The
Right.
Ark Encounter protest will be on the 6th. The following weekend's NanoCon, and 2 weeks after that is the 50th anniversary of the Scopes monkey trial.
Oh,
So there's all these huge things coming up, and I'm working with Tri-State Free Thought and Secular Rarity and a couple other organizations to really host a great thing. And we're going to be doing some fundraising and stuff to bring in, to fly in speakers. I've secured all the equipment, the signage, the stage.
You're gonna set up in what, in like the parking lot? What are you gonna do?
They've got an area down there outside the entrance where we'll set up. And then afterwards, I've secured a house for us to have a huge party in.
Oh,
So
maybe I'll come down.
that's 15 minutes away. So, and if you need some kind of assistance, you want to come and you're not able to or whatever, get in contact with me and I'll try to help if I can. I mean, I'm poor as dog shit myself, but like I will do what I can. Like I said, I'm going to be doing fundraising. So any funds that are left, I'm more than happy to use them to help bring others from the community down here to join us. So that's coming up in July. Keep your eyes out for all the information and stuff on that. It'll be the fundraiser and stuff will be going up in a matter of days. So just keep an eye on that. And yeah, Mark Alsop, just get a hold of me. For those of you that don't know Mark Alsop, Mark's or Alsop, I guess. I say it wrong, I think. Is a great author that's been on the channel a number of times. Check out his book, Journey to Reason. It's a very good book. Mark's been a great friend and supporter of the channel, and so also a fellow Kentuckian. You know, that's really the coolest thing about this channel, though. Like the Kentucky Atheist, I get people that say, "Wow, you're an atheist from Kentucky, and that's weird," and all this. But in doing this channel, I've met so many other atheists from Kentucky, and if my mods could just keep an eye on that, I've met so many other atheists from Kentucky, and Gutsick Gibbon. I don't know where I think she's from Ohio. She's close by though. I don't think she's from Kentucky. Yeah, please. If here, I'll take care of it, guys. I got you. I got you. 1 second. Well, I don't even see it now. So, oh, there it is. There it is. Let's see. Can't ban a chat owner or moderator. Block user. There we go. Bye bye.
One down.
Yeah. I blocked him already, Aunt Jer, so should be okay.
Just posting gay over and over again.
We had some trolls come from the line tonight, and they've, they want to come and prove to us that there's no hate quite like Christian love, right? You want to come and try and be assholes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you want to really if you want to catch my attention and have me just make fun of you and stuff, I'll do that. I mean, I don't care. It doesn't harm me none, and people can just laugh at whenever I call you an ignorant piece of shit. No big deal to me.
Well, at least he's gone now. So.
Well, we've got another one.
Oh, okay. Well, there's no short.
If somebody with a wrench could just go ahead and completely ban those people, don't even time them out, just ban them. Hi, Logan. You coming to represent Kentucky by being a fucking piece of shit? Is that what we're doing today? You sounded like a fool on your phone call, by the way. You're an idiot. And
what's this now? Who are we talking to?
But thanks in coming and giving me I'll take the analytics for it though. I appreciate the views and the interaction. It just helps me grow and do more of what I do.
Helps algorithm. Yep.
Yeah. I'll have to wait until the chat scrolls a little bit, and I'll put it more on screen because I don't want to. I don't even want to put that username on screen. But yeah. Anyway, back to the thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, that and this is how they react. Rather than being able to have reasonable conversations and accept reality. Instead, how many of them react is to show up in a stream and act like fools, you know. Because the God of the universe created the galaxies in our local group. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you guys. Yeah. Just. In fact, I tell you what. I didn't fix it yet. I'm making some special commands for the chat to where you can, if you put exclamation 8-ball, it will and ask a question. It'll answer your question. Just saying. But
Are we all clear?
Yeah, it'll scroll past now, and I had to go back in. Well, we won't even talk about it. Go ahead and grab that one for me too, if you don't care, Aunt Jer. Okay. Yeah. It's good. Go ahead and ban Hawk Tuba too, though.
They just don't have anything interesting to say.
Yeah. Well, they trolled my stream the other night. So what happened is
At least be
this
funny.
Kentuckian, huh?
If you're going to be a troll, at least be funny.
Right. I mean, at least be good at it. I mean, don't you go and just say the word gay, like
don't make yourself look like an idiot. I mean, that doesn't really do you any favors.
Yeah. You know, and to me, it's like, it's one of those weird things, like they're homophobic and everything, but yet they show up in a stream where we're not talking about anything and start talking about gay, this and that. And it's like, I'm not even talking about that. Like, I get that you went on Transatlantic Call-In Show and Arden just made you look like a fucking idiot and just completely filleted your ass. Like, I get that happened, but you don't have to come here and post harmful things, you know?
Or just stupid shit that nobody really cares about.
And Logan from Kentucky, I'm in Ashland. If you got something to say, come say it, brother. We'll talk. But all right. So the back to the creationists. We talked about the Ark Encounter thing and all that. It's like, because whenever I first came into this, I wanted to debate people, right? Did you have that, like, you want to sit down and have arguments with Christians, or are you
I did that a long time ago.
Right.
And you know, I realized that it's futile. I mean, it's just a waste of time. It could be fun at sometimes to get into arguments, but it really achieves nothing. So that's kind of why I just sort of went into the whole comic angle of it, because you know, you could still attract fence sitters. You know, like my channel, it definitely makes fun of creationism and fundamentalism in a way, but there are probably people that are like kind of on the fence that might see it and they might say, oh, well, that's actually a good point, even though it's, you know, even though I'm making jokes. I've had people say, hey, this was actually really informative, and I like doing that, but I don't I don't like debating unless well, I don't really know much about the art of debating, you know what I mean? Like I just, well, here we go.
Let me I didn't mean to interrupt you. I didn't know it was going to start playing.
It's all right.
Let me put it up here to where everybody else can see it. Let's do this, and let's make it like this.
Oh,
now we can do it. So this is one of your most watched videos, and I think this is a good example of showing you having fun with it and why it's one of your most watched videos. What is it, 13,000 views now?
About, yeah.
So a really successful video. It's like 5 minutes long. I'll play it, and we'll stop a couple times and talk about some of the things you say. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
You know, living in a free country like the United States, we're often exposed to a wide range of beliefs. Even if some of those beliefs are wildly inaccurate or even absurd, especially today. In this modern age of the internet, people can find themselves going down rabbit holes. Often motivated by fear and paranoia, they can find themselves buying into all kinds of crazy, unsubstantiated theories like evolution and... Wait, what?
Cut. What's the problem?
I thought I was supposed to talk about cults and religious extremism?
Yes, the cult of Charles Darwin and the religion of evolution.
Not QAnon or Christian nationalism?
No, this is a video that debunks evolution.
Oh.
Do you have a problem with that?
Well,
Look, we agreed to pay you up front because your agent guaranteed us that you were the most sincere presenter he has.
Yeah, and the check already cleared, so thank you for that.
Sure, but, don't let us down. Your sincerity is going to sell creationism to the audience.
Okay, not the evidence?
No, look, we don't have evidence, so we need you to pick apart the evidence for evolution. Convince the viewer that it's wrong and potentially dangerous. Once you do that, we could just put God in the gaps.
Oh, I get it.
So you need to really believe that creationism is the only reasonable conclusion. Got it?
Yeah, no problem. I could easily fake that.
Great. Let's take it from the top then. Page 2. Okay? Action.
All right. So I love that I love the New York accent, first of all. But, I love the humor approach to this because I think it's the right approach, right? But while also pointing out that it's really just a grift and they're really just like
Right.
that. Yeah, you said perfectly what the thing is. We're going to take the evidence for evolution and tear it apart and then insert God as the default answer.
Right.
And I think that's the dishonesty that is creation apologetics, right?
Right.
And you said it. You this is what made it such a successful video, is you said it plainly and clearly and in few words, and added a bit of humor to it, which is always great. Everybody likes to laugh.
Right.
I just linked Answerman again in the chat, and the link is also in the description, the title, and whenever we go back to the other screen, there's even a QR code for you. So any way that you can go subscribe. A great channel and someone I hope to have around doing some things with me more in the future. So definitely go support the original Answerman on YouTube. But let's watch a little bit more.
Evolutionists absurdly believe that everything evolved from nothing because of a random Big Bang. Why am I talking about the Big Bang?
Cut.
Right. And this is what they do.
Yeah, that's what they all do. I just saw a video about problems with evolution, and the first thing he said was something about the Big Bang.
This has been, like, I know we talk a lot about how Kent Hovind has used the same script for 30 years and doesn't really change what he says and is a doofus and all that shit. But like, this is one of the things he's started to do now, is because I think he realizes now that the atheist community itself has become so educated on evolution because of him that now he just gets his ass handed to him all the time. So he's like, he switched to this thing now that when you corner him and point out like monophyly or something like that, he'll be like, well, here's the problem. You don't even have that. You can't even start there. First, you got to explain where everything came from and the evolution of the universe and the evolution of chemicals, because you can't go from having a rock to having a man. And
clearly it was clay. Clearly it was molded out of clay.
Right. Yeah. and so they've started doing this even more often now, to where it's like they'll say, okay, let's talk about evolution. You start to talk about you're like, okay, I'll have the conversation with you, for fuck's sake. You start to have the conversation, and then immediately they're like, well, yeah, in the Big Bang, you think everything came from nothing, which is like the biggest projection in creationism.
Right.
It's like, no, I don't believe God farted it into existence from nothing. That's you. Like,
right. Well, yeah.
I'll let the video play some here.
All right. Oh, this is my nothing.
Evolution.
What is it?
This is when I get into the argument about nothing.
Yeah. No, I love this part. This is really well done. I love it.
Thank you.
It's a theory in biology, not in astronomy.
The Big Bang is part of the evolutionist ideology.
Really? But it was first hypothesized by a Catholic priest, right?
It was?
Yeah, he claimed it was evidence of a creative act of God.
Well, scientists don't believe that today.
Today they believe the universe just spontaneously popped out of nothing.
Oh, no, they don't. There's no such thing as nothing.
What are you talking about?
Well, nothing is just an abstract idea that's contrary to existence. You understand? So only something can exist, you know, even if it's nothing.
Okay.
Wait, can nothing exist or not?
No, I just told you, by its very nature, nothing can't exist. If nothing exists, it's no longer nothing, it's something.
Yeah, but you just said something can be nothing.
No, the appearance of nothing isn't nothing, it's something.
All
How
right.
can it be something if there's nothing there?
You just think that there's nothing there because you're not acknowledging the stuff that's actually there.
Okay.
But what if it's empty space?
No, empty space isn't nothing. It's a void that exists inside time and space. It
right.
can have a shape. It can manifest virtual particles through quantum fluctuations. It can even weigh something.
How can nothing weigh something?
Well, it can't because nothing doesn't exist, you friggin' moron.
Whatever. Let's just pick it.
We got a question from Ember here. How do you get the timing right when you're talking to yourself off screen?
Okay, so if you notice, I have an earpiece, and what I do, how I prepare this stuff is I do an audio only version of the whole script with all the timing of all the parts, and then I get all that exactly the way I want it. That's that takes the longest amount of time.
Yeah.
And then I'm listening to it, and all I'm doing is at the same time I'm listening to it, I'm also reading off of the scroll that I have.
So you're answering the earpiece.
So I'm listening to so this way my intonations, everything is right, and we're having like this real conversation. It took a while for me to figure out a method to do that.
Yeah, that's actually how I used to do my first videos.
Oh yeah.
Because my videos were all a voiceover. So what I would do is I would go through and I would watch the video, and whenever I had something to say, I would stop and I would write down the timestamp, and then I would type up what I was going to say, and I would go do that through the whole video. I would cut those pieces of the video as I did it and save each one.
Okay.
And then I would go and I would read the different parts of my script all into audio, and then I would go back and clip it up and then cut them all up together, right? And put it all together.
Right.
And that's how I did my first videos. I found out later that like it was the hardest way possible for me to do that. But it was taking me like, I was trying to release one video a week, and I had one video that went to like 18,000, 19,000 views. And so like I was spending like 2 and 3 days just recording and editing a video. And so by the time I watch all this televangelist or, creationist nonsense, and then I sit and I have to watch the video 6 times to clip it up, and then I have to watch my video of it with the clips of it again 10 more times to edit it all together. Like I was getting burnt out so quick on just having to hear like the awful things that they say.
Because you're doing reaction videos.
Yeah, it was it was like commentary on it was reaction. It was, instead of a reaction to a single video though, I had clips of like the worst things televangelists do. So it was like a super cut of
The greatest hits.
Yeah, and then it just had me coming in with commentary and saying, Kenneth Copeland, here he is trying to blow COVID away. If he really wanted to blow something, all he had to do was ask, like the just being an asshole, and I do, and Ember's right, reactionary. That's me. I do a lot of reaction to it. Now I can have the conversation. Like I've had some great conversations about science with my friends in the atheist community, and with some theists. At least my part was good science. I've had some great conversations about that, and I can do that, and I love knowing those things. But it's gotten to the point now, like where I've done that for so long that it's no longer an interest to me, really. Like it doesn't seem like the best avenue, and I think it's actually, there could be a harmful side effect to me doing that. And so for me, it became like, let's quit having serious scientific conversations with them, and let's give them the attitude they deserve.
Right.
And point out the absurdity, and point to the harm, and point to the grift, and let's use sunlight as a disinfectant and kind of help creationism continue to shrink.
Right.
That's on any given day, I may tell you my goals are completely different. So, but I've been pretty, I've stuck to that for the most part. I mean, I'm really, I've done a lot of that stuff, and I've done a lot of different things. I've done response videos, and I've done just reaction videos, and then I've done debates and had scientific discussions and mediated discussions, and I've done a little bit of all those things. I've read the Bible with Christians, without Christians. I was a Christian at one point. Up until I was 25 years old, I was a young Earth creationist. So I've done all those things. Like it's just eventually you get to the point to where you're like, who am I talking to? Who the YouTube video debate, and some people aren't going to like this, but it's not effective. It does nothing to help anyone. It provides information. So let me put it this way: there is the aspect to where if you're going to it you want to learn that information about the subject, but 99% of people aren't doing that either. So it's all about just being provocative and making a show. And it's allowing the creationists to make a spectacle of us so that they can build their community stronger. Because
right. That's why
they gain from that.
Probably a better angle.
Or you have places like Modern Day Debates that exploits communities for its own gain, without a care in the world about what kind of harm is done to that community by the toxic chat they promote and the way that they behave. So that's why I've kind of shifted into this thing. And I used to kind of dance around this stuff on eggshells and not want to say, well, this is bad and that's bad and whatever. Like, but anymore, I'm just not. I'm not going to be quiet about it. These people are drifters and assholes, and engaging with them in scientific conversations is harmful to everyone.
Especially when they try to get into the
unless you're an expert.
Right, because they're going to bring up things that you don't necessarily know about, but they're probably wrong, but you can't really debunk it on the spot because they've got all these talking points and all these things, and maybe if I was like a Forrest Valkai, I could do it, but I'm nowhere near his equal when it comes to that kind of thing, So or Dave, somebody like that. But
what's up, Maya Atkinson? If you haven't met Maya Atkinson, I suggest you watch Bad Science Sunday, which comes on every Sunday at 9:30 on her channel, Maya Atkinson. Okay. If you're not familiar with that, you should definitely check that out, Answerman. You would, Alex, I'll call you Alex. Yeah. You would definitely enjoy. That is one of my favorite shows on all of YouTube.
Okay, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. Go watch, and you'll love it. Cool. It's
but what she's saying, not engaging with them is what got us into the situation we're in.
No, I'm not saying not to engage. I'm saying not to engage in scientific conversations like we're having.
Don't take them so seriously. Don't give them. I think when you start seriously talking to them, it becomes like a debate about ideas that are equal, just different, like both sides of the story. When one side of the story is true and the other side is crazy, and it's important that people that aren't engaged, that are maybe confused or don't really, that they understand that one side is dealing with reality and the other side is dealing with make believe. And
so the way I see it is that so the idea, the make-believe stuff that you're talking about there, the idea of that, it's fine that they believe that, and that's not, nobody really cares what people believe. It's the things that they do that cause the problem.
Yeah, I mean,
and that make-believe stuff though is not on the same level as science, as reality, right? So whenever you engage in this conversation, like we're going to have a serious debate and make this big spectacle out of it about some scientific thing, they're like in doing that, you're almost making a mockery of it itself, because it's not serious. Like,
Right.
it's not a serious conversation, and it's fine to do that. And there are people that do it well. And Maya, I love as many perspectives and as many ways as we can do it. So I don't want you to misunderstand. This is just my feelings on it. Everything I say here is my feelings, and I am in no way saying that anyone else should approach this the way that I do, or believe anything or any of that. Like, the whole thing is this is my opinion, and I want to make sure that everybody understands. I'm just a dude from Kentucky.
Yeah.
If you're coming to me expecting like for me to tell you how to live your life, you have done fucked up. But I just give people my perspective as a isolated atheist from rural Kentucky. That's all I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
So whenever you hear me shit on debating people and stuff, I think there are situations in which it's harmful, and we shouldn't do it.
Isn't
No,
there
Maya,
a
I
big?
know.
Sorry, go ahead.
I know you're not mad, Maya. You're one of my best friends, Maya, on YouTube. I love you to death, and I want you to always push back against the things I say, because it just makes me explain it more, which benefits everybody. So don't misunderstand me. There's always love when we have these conversations.
What I was going to ask you, I never saw it, but is there a debate with Ken Ham and Bill Nye, the science guy? That
It took place at the Ark Encounter.
And a lot of people are like upset that Bill Nye was like too nice and took it too seriously. I didn't see it, so I really can't critique it. But is that your feeling as well? Did you see it?
So the problem that most people have, I did see the debate. I watched it. I think they played it live, actually. The problem that most people have with that is that because of Bill Nye going to the Ark Encounter and bringing all these cameras and all this media and stuff that it attracted to it, then you get Ken Ham on stage who starts off early saying, there's nothing you could say that it would ever change my mind about this. I will believe this no matter what evidence you provide. Mm-hmm. So we're already at a place to where this is not worth even doing. But then it goes on to Bill Nye confronts him, but it just gives Ken Ham a platform to spread his lies, right? He's built this huge Ark Encounter, and it's advertising for that theme park, and it's giving a lot of attention to it that
it just brought him up.
Right. Now, if you look at it from a debate perspective, Bill Nye does a really great job, and it's a great talk, like, as far as that part of it. Like, but that's one of the things that we don't consider. It's like being right is good, and everybody wants to be right. You don't want to be wrong about shit like that. That's the thing. People want to be right. Yeah. But sometimes the road you take to being right may do overall more harm than good. And sometimes we need to stop and think about that. And we need to consider not about like, well, I come here and talk to you guys, but essentially this can somewhat be looked at as my own little echo chamber. But now whenever I go on Standing for Truth and I debate Kent Hovind, what is the optic from the audience that sees that? And we need to keep that in mind, because it's very, very important. Whenever we do that, what happens is you go there and you may kick Kent Hovind's ass all over Donnie's living room or whatever. Like you may just bring it to him and do the best debate against Kent Hovind there's ever been. But that was never the issue. The issue is that it's used to make a spectacle of us as atheists. And then whenever they start saying, well, I'm going to poke a hole in evolution here, and they try to get the conversation so far in the weeds, or they use the wrong terminology and stuff purposely in order to keep it, because if they can keep one little bit of doubt in the audience's head, which in those places is almost entirely made up of theists, if they can keep them just with that little bit of doubt, then that debate, even though they're talking about evolution and not defending the position that they claim is true, what it does is if they can put any kind of doubt to it, then the default answer is, well, then he must be right. That, we're debating creationism, but we're talking about evolution. And if you're wrong about evolution, then the creationist must be correct about the things he's saying. And that's a fallacious way to look at it, but that's what happens.
Do they ever demand that the creationist is the one that defends creationism? Because I always see it as defending evolution from the God did it, answer. And it really should just be like, show me any evidence for creation. Like,
well, I've even gone past that and said, I don't even care if you have evidence. Give me any reason at all to why I should even consider this. Like, all things being equal, let's pretend that we're both just born today as atheists. We have no positive belief of any kind of supernatural being. We have the null position, right? We don't believe in anything. Now, tell me why it is from looking at the world around me and the things that exist in science and everything else, why I should consider any reason at all to believe in the horseshit story of creationism.
Well, yeah. Well, specifically the creationist story that of the Bible is absurd. But I think that you could even make an evolutionary argument for why people have this sort of spiritual quality about them, why they want to believe in a higher power. Because it probably helped us, evolve, civilizations and communities. And, there's probably a pretty good argument. I think, like Joe Campbell, I don't know if you ever read his books, but I mean, he explains like how this all sort of evolved along with us. But I
watched some stuff from him yesterday.
Yeah, it's really insightful. Yeah. So you could probably make an argument. They like the creationists like to say, well, you're born with the knowledge of God, and
right.
You're not. You're born with is there something else? Like, why am I here? You're questioning all this stuff.
Which gene contains the knowledge for God? I'll wait.
What's that?
I said, which gene contains the knowledge for God? Because if you're born with the knowledge from God, then it's in your DNA somewhere.
Right. There's no knowledge of God in your DNA. Right. You're just a conscious living organism that has the ability to ask questions. And one of those questions inevitably is going to be like, how did this all begin? Like, how did this all start?
I think if you demand evidence and demand that they defend that position, then because the only source is the Bible. So they're then forced to engage in like philosophical conversations, right? So why should you philosophically believe in a God or a greater power?
Right.
Because you would have to get there. Like, you would have there's no there, right? Like, so you would have to establish that there is any possibility of the supernatural or God or that there is any meaning to outside of space and time, because that doesn't fucking mean anything. Like, you would have to establish that there is even a reason to suggest that thing. And because what they do is then they say things, well, look at the Grand Canyon, there's evidence for the flood. And it's like, yeah, but that's, first, you're wrong, and that's a stupid thing, a really stupid thing to say. But second, like, that thing that you're saying is evidence for the flood is evidence for geology and the history of the Earth as we know it.
They don't know a mountain rising up out of like where a stream is.
Well, if you're going to claim this thing as evidence for your position, it needs to uniquely point to that conclusion. If it points to multiple conclusions, then how are you rolling those out?
Right.
You're not. So you're still
as
operating.
It exposes all the layers of rock with fossils for millions of years.
Yeah. Because even in that situation, even if I say, that's good evidence, you're still purely operating on faith. Right. Because you're still making the leap to, well, this is the cause and the how and all this stuff. And you're disqualifying science and reality in place of that belief for no reason other than indoctrination, because if the two of us were never indoctrinated into that, we would never pick up that belief. It wouldn't be a
Or
thing.
if we were born in a different country, if we were born in the Middle East, if we were born in Israel, if we, like we would, if we were going to adopt a belief in God, it would undoubtedly be the God of their culture. It wouldn't be the Christian.
Exactly. And we know that, right? Like,
and they
we've done
make
studies.
this leap of, well, something had to start it, so it must have been, the Bible must be true then. And you're like, well, but that's a big leap from, the Big Bang happened, and so the Bible's true. I had a guy I was debating briefly talk about because I said, Genesis has nothing to do with the Big Bang, and he said that the first sentence that says the earth was without form and void was the singularity.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear that before? I had never heard that.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite term in all of philosophy is post hoc rationalization. And that's, you're taking things that how we've described the universe, and you're cherry picking the thing you want to pick, and then you're using your scripture and your belief to describe that thing, rather than
just hammering a square peg into a round hole as hard as you can to make it.
Yeah, right.
It clearly doesn't say that. It clearly doesn't mean that.
No,
it talks about morning and evening. It doesn't talk about the primordial light that was the result of the of the initial creation event. It's talking about daytime and nighttime. The first day, the second day. I mean, it's clear what it's talking about. And these were people that were like, in the desert they thought the world was flat. I mean, they didn't know anything.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like, because the Bible and the writings that make up the Bible do have a historical significance. Like, they are important. They show us the kind of stories these people were telling. Right. They teach us a lot about that culture and how they lived in that culture.
Yeah. They're fascinating in that way.
Yeah. There is a lot to be gained from it.
Yeah.
But also, let's keep in mind that many of the things in it didn't happen. Like, and I'm not even talking about, like, I don't believe, but like the Exodus, not a thing, didn't happen.
Right.
Like, millions of Jews did not flee, or Hebrews did not flee Egypt, to Canaanite, for a number of reasons. And they say, well, it happened at a different time and this and that. The Bible explains what time that happened. And during that time, in fact, there were never millions of Hebrew slaves in Egypt.
Right. They found all the housing for the people that were building the pyramids.
Around the pyramids.
Right. They uncovered all that. It was a whole society. It was a whole,
I thought the interesting thing about that is they thought it was all done by slave labor.
Right.
And then they come to find out most of it was actually the Egyptians themselves.
Right.
Like, they did have prisoners and some slaves and things.
I mean, my dad was a mason, he would have made a good living back then building the pyramids, That would have been an honest way to make a buck,
Yeah. But so whenever when you accept them, you look at them in the contemporary setting that they were written in, and the literary style of those people at the time, and there is something to be gained from that. But then it goes into all these other supernatural things and all this and stuff that isn't true.
All the magic that magically stopped.
You don't pick up the Odyssey and read it as a history book, right?
Right.
And so many people want to do that with the Bible, and it really fucks shit up, because then they want to turn around and teach it in science class or history class.
Right.
They my school taught intelligent design, so it's ancient aliens didn't build the pyramids. Yeah, BS. That's what happened. Let's watch some more of your video, and then we'll talk some more about that.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Get up from 3, okay? Action.
A Darwinist will try to convince you that humans evolved from monkeys. But haven't they ever wondered, if humans evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Oh, sure, they'll go on about some theoretical missing link that could have existed millions of years ago, but I can assure you it's just conjecture. There's absolutely no evidence of any missing link. They'll show you fossils of what they claim could be missing links, but it turns out these are just fossils of extinct apes, not humans. Wait, you know we were apes, right?
Cut. What?
Well, we're also...
Hold on, we'll watch your response in a second, because a couple things to cover there. So yeah, have you actually encountered? Because I have. Have you encountered a creationist who says, "If we came from monkeys, why do monkeys still exist?"
Well, I encountered. I don't know that I would. Well, I guess she was a creationist. She was a friend of the family. She was older, like my parents' generation, and she said, "If monkeys evolved into humans, why don't they do it today?"
Yeah, it's.
Which okay.
I mean, look again. Like the thing about DNA and evolution is actually the thing that originally sparked my curiosity to that began the road to me deconverting from young Earth creationism. So I in a way I empathize with the people that say those things. Because I know indoctrination and culture is like a thing that happens to people, but at the same time, whenever they say that, I'm like, oh man, we're so far from the end of this conversation, because this is going to be a long one, right? Like,
well, I think that's why my video did so well, just because the title is "Why Are There Still Monkeys?" and I just triggered a lot of people.
Well, even in the chat while we're sitting here talking, people are engaging in this conversation about it, right?
Right.
The things that you're saying, while they're comedic and slightly provocative, I would say, you're putting it in a way that sparks that conversation, and that's what really makes for successful content, is whenever it gets people talking, and discourse within our community anyway is how we learn from each other and gain more perspective and more culture and learn. I mean, this may spark the conversation that ends up somebody learning, in the end, treating people better, or some humanist value that is really important. So it's a really powerful thing, even though it's one of these silly claims. You say it out loud, and you're like, God, this is so stupid. Do I really have to talk about this? But at the same time, there is a way to do it. And if I wanted to argue with Kent Hovind, I don't need to go argue with Kent Hovind. He said the same thing forever. I can put up his video and respond to the arguments, right,
because he never changes.
If that's what sorry, excuse me, my mouse dropped. If that's what I need to do. But this if we came from monkeys, why do monkeys still exist? Or how are there still monkeys?
Why don't they change into humans today? Like, why don't they change now?
Yeah, I didn't see a monkey give birth to a human.
Yeah.
It's like, that violates the laws of evolution, the principles of evolution, actually. So
right.
you're
how come when you open a jar of peanut butter, there's not new life in the jar of peanut butter? Like they expect, if we're going to be new life, it would be like a little monkey in your jar of peanut butter, instead of like a bacterium that you couldn't even, physically see. They don't think about what they're saying, and how
it's like catching a fish out of the ocean and saying they don't exist unless you catch them. Like it's such a close-sided view of things, and
it's a simple-minded view, and that's why it becomes so hard to reason with them, because you fear like you're just going to talk over their heads, like they're just not going to follow you. You try. Well, if I were an educator, I would be able to do it, but I can't, and I get.
You are and don't know it.
Well, in this way, this is.
Yeah, though, I mean, the knowledge is definitely important.
I don't have the patience.
being an expert in some kind of field is definitely an extremely valuable thing to be. But one of the important things is how you communicate those ideas to others, because it doesn't matter what you know or how much you know or how smart you are. If you can't communicate that to others,
Right.
it's useless information.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's your ability to be able to clearly, unlike me, to clearly convey those ideas in a way that people can understand. If you talk over their head and they don't understand you, you failed. If
Right.
you dumb it down so far that you're missing the whole point, you failed. You have to communicate things in a way that people can grab onto and understand, or at least well enough to give them to spur the action of them going and looking into it themselves, curiosity and skepticism and all those things. Like it's so I think, if I was an educator or whatever, like, you're communicating things and people are responding because you're communicating it well. You're mocking it while at the same time pointing it out, and then you you break it down in this third person way here where you're talking to someone else and
Right.
watching.
Well, I could certainly do the basics, and that's about as deep as I could get into it.
Well, rather than going into a whole big talk about, well, those are old world monkeys and
Right.
the wall of monophyly and like, rather than getting into all that stuff, you gave it the attention that it actually deserved.
Okay.
And because of the number of views this got, you did it in an effective way, which is the goal, right? Not just to make a video.
And I wasn't even gonna upload this.
Right. That's a shame.
I didn't think because I was too close to it, So after a week of editing it, and I watched it, I went, "This isn't any good." No.
Yeah, you're always your own worst critic. That's
Yeah.
I won't watch my stuff because I can't stand to hear my voice. So but that's me. But your ability here to convey the message to so many people is, even though it's a silly idea and it's one of the silliest things that creationists, not all creationists claim this, but it's one of the silliest things that they say. Right. And you conveyed, how it should be treated, and hopefully, if you're lucky, one person out of the 13,000 people that watched it was on the fence about this, or curious, or skeptical, and you making fun of it, was the thing that they were like, wow, yeah, that is silly, that is stupid, ha ha ha, and they laughed at it rather than prayed to it,
Right. That's what I'm hoping, that there are people that are on the fence about this, that are wondering, and if I could help in any way, and comedy is my thing. So if I could help, if I could be funny and also, educate people a little bit. Exactly. That's my goal.
And I think you're very talented at it. I think you've got something here. I see big things for you.
We'll see.
But let's watch a little bit more. We've only got about a little over a minute left. So.
All right.
So apes. So of course the more recent transitions would also be apes.
We're apes?
Yeah, and chimps are our closest surviving relatives.
Really? Chimps?
Well, yeah, in fact, genetically, we're more closely related to chimps than chimps are to gorillas.
That's not true.
Well, DNA doesn't lie.
But chimps look more like gorillas than humans.
Well, you obviously never saw my Uncle Sal with his shirt off then.
Okay, yeah, but...
And he acts like a chimp, too. I remember one time I smiled at him, he threw shit at me.
Yeah, but your uncle's hairy back and my great-aunt's big red ass doesn't mean we were once monkeys. So can we just continue, please?
How do you know your aunt had a red ass?
It's not important.
When we were kids, we saw her come out of the shower and her towel accidentally dropped.
Oh.
And then she bent over to pick it up and kind of got stuck like that for a minute.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's how I got religion too.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to take 5.
My buddy Bill making that theme song for me.
Yeah, that's really, really good stuff. From what I've seen in chat, you've definitely already picked up a few subscribers And
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, this video. I was actually thinking like, oh, I'll post one more maybe, and then I'll, maybe if I want to post more in the future, I will. And it just changed everything. I mean, all of a sudden, I'm a hit.
yeah, no, you're doing the Lord's work. But the other thing there at the end of the video, just so I'm not skipping over the point and somebody doesn't come and say something stupid later. Transitional fossils. I love when they say we don't see any transitional fossils, and it's like, well, like if you understand and accept the theory of evolution, they're all transitional
Right.
fossils.
Everything's a transition. Everything
Yeah.
unless it goes extinct. But I mean, potentially everything's a transition.
Yeah. Sometimes you have an extinct organism that no longer is transitioning,
Right.
but it's funny because even like
there's never a time when the species is like, oh, if only I could grow a wing, I'd be so much happier. Like they all fit their environmental niche the way they need to survive. And then as that environment changes slowly, before global warming fucked everything up, when the environment changes, they adapt little by little, and they, their beaks get bigger, their wings get longer, whatever they need to do. And it's not that hard to understand once you understand it, and that it's tied to the geology, and people don't realize how important, how central evolution is to like all the earth sciences. I mean, it's
right, yeah. It's a lot of people will repeat the quote where they say nothing in biology makes sense, or everything in biology makes sense in light of evolution, or however it's worded. But it's not just that. It's like whenever you deny evolution, you're not just denying that whole branch of science. You're pretty much denying all of the life sciences. Then you're saying paleontology's been wrong, geology's been wrong.
Yeah. And then you're replacing everything with miracles.
Yeah, and but that's the thing. If we just said miracle, we could stop having the conversation there,
Yeah.
But they don't. Instead, they want to try and shoehorn it into science, and that's what gets everybody upset. It's like you could believe if you want to claim God miracled everything together, and like last Thursdayism, which I'm sure many of you have heard, that everything was actually created last Thursday, just to look old and
we have all these are artificial memories or something.
It's all God just made it that way to trick you, or however you want to word it. And I mean, it's essentially that at that point, and there's really nothing else to talk about. You're just not. What can we talk about if you don't accept the terms of reality?
Yeah.
Like if we're not discussing the same reality, like I'm discussing the physical world that we live in. You're talking about something completely different that we don't see in this physical world.
Right.
And so I'm out of water. So at that point, it's like, go ahead and claim miracles if you want to, but like you need to support that with something. But otherwise, like, why are we trying to poke holes in evolution? Let's just, you got another subscriber. Let's just,
I did.
Let's just pretend for a second that we're having this conversation. You say, well, evolution is imaginary, and you believe your grandpappy came from a rock, and it's a religion that you made up. Here's the thing. If I say, okay, fine, evolution is bullshit, where does that leave us? Because you've still not given me anything.
Right.
All you've done is explain to me that you don't understand evolution or the theory of evolution.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's why they want to keep saying that like evolution is a religion, because they don't seem to understand that it's science has a function of uncovering truths about nature and the reality that we live in, and it's just a process. And
give me just a second, and I'll come back on camera.
I need some more.
Yeah, you're fine to talk. In fact, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
That's all right.
I got a gallon jug of distilled water, and I was pouring it in my water bottle, and I didn't want to do it on camera for some reason. I don't know.
Well, we wouldn't want to see that.
Yeah. I didn't want everyone to see me faking my bottled water. But yeah. So if you folks want to help me buy real bottles of water, feel free to send in a super chat or become a channel member. You click the join button down there. Memberships start out at 99 cents. You can become a member, and I'm telling you, I do member streams every week, and the spicy conversations, they take place there. The really good talks are on my members.
I'll have to go on one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're welcome. I'll even, as a guest to the channel, I'll even do you a solid. And if you want to come join us sometimes and talk, because it's always open panel for everyone to talk.
Mhm.
And I'll invite you as a guest, so you don't even have to buy a membership at first.
I could afford 99 cents.
Well,
okay. I have it on me right now.
Yeah, they start out at 99 cents, and I pretty much give the same perks to all membership levels, because my channel is kind of small, so I'm not trying to like make things for 5 different membership levels.
Mhm.
So no matter what level you join in, it's just up to you on how much you want to support the channel. If you join or whatever, though, I promise you. In fact, maybe I'll release one of them this week so some people can see what goes on in the member streams, because they're some of my best stuff. I promise you.
That's a good idea. I'm going to get a Kentucky Atheist mug. That's my next purchase.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, I want to get one of the beanies for myself, which I'm going to do this week. I'm going to order one of them, but the beanies are actually embroidered. They're it's not just a picture, a stamp that's on there. They're embroidered with the Grateful to Know God's broadcast on it. So yeah. But yeah, and if you're new to the channel and you like what we're talking about, or you're interested in the Ark Encounter protest or anything else, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you click that bell down there, it'll let you know when I make stuff, so you can keep up to date on those things. If you want, it's up to you. If you don't like what I'm doing, after the video is over, leave me a comment down there and tell me why. And if you want to have a conversation with me or anyone else on these subjects,
get that bottle of water, Joe.
Yeah. If you want to have the conversation, you can. All of my social links have been scrolling through chat over and over, and they'll automatically post again here in a minute. So join me on Discord or send me an email. I'm willing to try and talk to anyone. I can't promise you we'll get far. Native Atheist with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Native Atheist. Native Atheist has been a member of this channel. There's only one person that's been here longer than Native Atheist. Has been a huge supporter of the channel and helped out a lot of times. Thank you so much for being generous and looking out for your boy. I'm joking. I don't talk like that. Cool. But yeah. So, and we streamed over on your channel. So anybody that is joining us from Answerman over there, thanks for watching. And if you're here, take a moment and go hit that subscribe or scan the QR code on screen. It'll take you to a subscription for the channel. I spent a lot of time drawing that QR code a dot at a time to make it work. So you guys need to use that.
I see you got my picture in the middle of it. That's cool.
Yeah, I did that. I made like that it has to be there. That's how it works, but some people told me that this was too much to put all that on screen and stuff, but I was like, I like it. And I like being able to, I want every way possible for people to join you and for you to be able to talk to people in the community. If anyone has any questions or anything, tag me in the chat and ask your question, and we'll try and answer them for you.
Yeah, I am Answerman. I don't guarantee correct answers, but I guarantee answers.
Yeah. Get the Answerman while he's here. One of the things about community building in this particular corner of YouTube is that because we have people with so many perspectives and disciplines and things, like we have people who are computer experts, We have people who are deviant outcast in the chat is an Egyptologist. We have I personally know some biologists and some archaeologists and some just many different disciplines. I know lots of people who are into science. I know people who are in psychology and who work as professionals in that. So we have all of these resources to have these conversations with each other. It's just a matter of networking and getting us together so that we can. And so I want you to know, Alex, that most of these people in the chat have been friends of mine and I've known for some time. And if you, I'm sure some of them will reach out to you, but if you have any questions on anything, how to do or where to find, or feel free to reach out to
I really don't know what I'm doing, like to build my channel, to promote my channel. I don't really know what I'm doing. So
I'm not going to, I don't want to like insert myself into your creativity, but I'm always here if there's anything.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
And I've told people that we've had a couple long conversations.
Yeah, it was very, very cool of you, man.
Yeah, and that I want that persona and my personality towards you doing those things. I think a lot of people that are here in this chat share that that personality type anyway, and are willing to help people in the community in any way that they possibly can. So don't ever hesitate. And like, even if you get on, like, you go to one of my posts on my community page or one of my videos or whatever, even if it's not about the video, you have a question, you type that question, somebody will answer you for sure. Yeah. It'll probably be me, but somebody will for sure. I try to answer all of my comments, which has gotten harder as the channel's gotten bigger, but
it's a problem I should have.
Yeah. Well, I hope that you decide to get into more live streaming and stuff and all that. But
if I figure it out, it's definitely something I'm considering, memberships. And I do this on my spare time right now, so whenever I can. I mean, it's been nice to hang out with you today. I don't know how many days I could do something like this, but
well, that you don't, and that's the thing, like, your life comes first, of course, but
money, I have to pay the rent. I live in the city. I have to pay
and I mean, your channel is at the size as far as subscribers already to monetize and make a few bucks.
I haven't gotten the watch hours yet.
So there it is, folks. Go put those playlists on repeat. That's the hardest part of it. I mean, I agree. I know what you're talking about. That's the hardest part. Like, because, you've got a 5-minute video, even though it's gotten 13,000 views, most of those people didn't watch the whole thing. Right. That's not a lot. It is, but it isn't. It's not the thousands of hours you need. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's improving. It's improving. And if I go at the pace I'm at now, I will hit the 4,000 watch hour requirement. I will hit that eventually if I could keep up the pace that I'm at now. It'd be nice to get there sooner than later, but we'll see. And I figure as I upload more videos too, that'll just be more stuff for people to watch.
So Deconverted Man, I see your question and I'll ask it, but that's going to be a bigger answer, so give me a minute. But Deviant Outcast, like I said, Egyptologist and just incredibly friendly, smart person that has supported the channel for a long time, has a question. Will he accept my thank you for providing such needed relief from the horrors of religious zealotry?
Absolutely. I'm glad to help. That's what I was hoping, is that I could provide people that have deconverted or that are dealing with this and are stressed out by it to just come and laugh for a little while about how just absurd this all is.
You care. You care.
Yeah, and that there are other people that feel the same way. I mean, we're all.
And that's
getting weirder out there by the day.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. There's weirdos in this community too, right?
Like,
every social group is going to have its outcasts and deviants and all that. Deviant outcast. What do you know? But yeah, I think that what we see in the atheist community on YouTube, and atheist community kind of air quotes it because atheism isn't really a thing, but
Right.
there is a community that's around watching these videos and consuming the information and stuff that all these people put out. And we've became friends, and we work together to support each other's channels, to help each other in any way we can. And so there is an atheist community in that sense, right?
Right.
And it is one of the most beautiful things that I've encountered in my life. Just so many good people that are there to talk to help you, to have those hard conversations with, whether it be on video or in private. I have a history of addiction. I was a heroin addict for 20 years, so sometimes I have talks with people about that, and I talk about coming out of addiction while I'm deconverting and all of that. It's so there's so many conversations that are helpful to others that you may not, on when you said the thing about, like if we came from monkeys, why do monkeys still exist? I mean, it's a stupid, silly question, but there may have been someone that had that question,
There wasn't there a guy, somebody was running for Senate in Georgia, that football player, and he actually said that during a rally about why are there still monkeys? Like, did you ever think about that? Like, no one ever thought about that. So it's a common question.
What is the question that you wish you had the answer for? I think that's a deeper question than
that's a little deep for right now.
Yeah. He also asked, what is the true nature of reality? So
well, that's an easy one. 42.
42, yeah. It all goes back to 42. Deconverted Man is a good friend of the channel, and has I've been on his channel. He's came here. We've made content together. He said, reach out to him if you need anything.
You're gonna make a thing for me.
Yeah.
Could you a little specific on
whatever thing you need, he'll make it.
What do you make? What kind of things do you make?
He can make graphics and
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a graphic designer as well. That's how I make a living.
Yeah. So that was one of the other questions. Eric Lawson asked, do you both have careers outside of your channels? I'll let you go first.
Yeah. I mean, I don't make any money with this. This is just something I do for a hobby. I'm getting older now, and I'm getting less work. I'm a freelance graphic designer, and as I'm getting older, I'm finding fewer and fewer companies want to hire somebody my age. So it's getting a little harder. So I got more free time, and that's why I started doing Answerman. And I thought, well, maybe if I can make a few $100 a month with YouTube, it would help.
And I think that you'll see that you won't have any problem doing that once you get to the point you can. So as for myself, I don't currently work. I do this, and YouTube, of course, doesn't pay enough to really pay the bills. It's in fact, the month of December, I didn't even get paid from YouTube because I didn't make enough money in November to get paid. There's $100 threshold you have to reach to cash out. And so, like, I don't have a job currently. I do this, and then also I've helped people with computer stuff. I'm getting ready to build 2 gaming computers for some people that are wanting to play race car game of some sort. Like I've worked on people's phones, and I do various other things. And if I can find something that I'm capable of doing or whatever, I go do it. But I've had some health problems and that have kind of restricted me from the life that I've lived up to this point. I had heart surgery. I had my aortic valve replaced with a mechanical valve, and
me too.
and 2 holes in my heart patched. I spent 2 months in the hospital and almost died more than once. And before that, I was one of he used to be my friend, owned a lawn business. He worked full time at a hospital, but he needed somebody to run the lawn business, so he provided the equipment and stuff. And I started working for him. He had about 50, 60 yards. And while he was at work and I was out doing that, I built that business up to over 400 yards before I had the heart problem.
Wow.
And so
You
I
were
was making really good
400
money.
yards? You were
Yeah.
thinking, how?
I ended up running 2 to 3 trucks sometimes, and I had
Is that what caused the
several.
heart problem?
No,
Oh no,
I'll talk about that in a second. But I had multiple trucks running. I had guys working under me that I kept on task, and like I just because I started with it small and worked into it, it wasn't that big of a deal to run it. Like I knew all the customers and I took care of the only thing I didn't do was pay the employees. I collected money from customers and I did the job and I bid new jobs and hired and fired and took care of all the maintenance on stuff and I did all that. But at the end of the day, we got paid cash every day. So,
everybody got paid.
yeah, I didn't pay taxes. The whatever, but I did that for like 7 years and made really good money for a long time. And so, yeah, whenever I started having health problems and stuff, my lifestyle had to shift dramatically, which
Yeah.
was a hard thing to get through. Um,
Oh yeah, man.
Back to the heart condition thing. So I was an IV drug user for a number of years, and it's not good for you. And imagine that. And apparently, I had done some damage and stuff to my heart already that I was unaware of. And during the spring a few years ago, out working weed eating ditches and stuff, I got into we suspect this is how it came about. I got into some sewer water and I ended up getting an infection.
Ooh.
And that infection, I didn't even realize I had it because I was working 14 hours a day and didn't pay any attention to that stuff. And so I started getting sick. I was having trouble breathing and I got really sick. I went to what's called urgent care around here and they, they did a chest scan. They said you have pneumonia. The season's just changed. You've got pneumonia. Here's you some antibiotics. Go home and, take these for 2 weeks and you'll be fine. And so I didn't have pneumonia. I mean, I did, but I was septic at the time.
Oh.
So I was septic for almost a whole month and
untreated.
And yeah, untreated and working 12 hours a day.
Oh my God.
And what happened on the final day before I was hospitalized, I was out working and my guys knew I had been sick for a long time. And so they were, picking up the slack. I was the boss anyway. So they were picking up the slack though and getting a lot of work done. And I stopped at a yard and when I opened the truck door, I fell out of the truck into the road.
Oh man.
Because I didn't have, that was it, And so I came home and I didn't even change clothes. I went to Advanced Auto Parts to get a battery for my car because my car was messing up. And I installed the battery in their parking lot. Like I'm dying at this point, by the way.
Heart failure.
Yeah, I installed the battery and then I went to the hospital and I had,
Jesus.
yeah, I had packed a backpack and all my stuff. I brought my Nintendo Switch with me and everything because I knew that I was going to get admitted. But I thought I still thought I just had a pneumonia, right?
Right.
So I go in and they put me in a room and they hook up some IV stuff and they're doing their thing or whatever. And a doctor comes in and is listening to my heart and stuff. And he says, anyone ever told you had a heart murmur? And I said, no, never in my life has anyone said that.
Really?
And at that point, things started moving real fast.
Wow.
Doctors started coming in. I had multiple CT scans and x-rays and they started taking blood. And within a couple hours, they had blood test results and stuff that came back. And I actually had 2 different bacteria that had infected. The infection had started in my gut, they said, and there's like all kinds of bacteria in your gut
Right.
that doesn't do anything to you because you have an immune system. But I was so sick that my immune system wasn't even able to prevent my own bacteria from consuming my body.
Oh my
So
God.
it attacked my heart, and
On top of, so wait, your heart, but you were born with a deformity?
yeah, I was. That's a yeah. I also had a deformity in the valve. And you're supposed to have like three little flaps in there, and I only had
Right.
one.
That's kind of
Um,
what I had. Yeah.
yeah, so there was that not helping things on top of it.
No.
Um, I ended up having they did a oh, what's it called? They do to look at babies. Um,
Oh, the echo.
yeah, I had an echocardiogram done on
Yeah.
my heart, and they found that my aortic valve was completely destroyed, and I had two holes in my heart.
Wow.
And so I went through a surgery for 4 or 5 hours, I guess, and they replaced my valve with a mechanical valve that now ticks in a quiet room. You can hear me ticking, and they they then kept me in the hospital for 2 months. It
Wow.
was weeks before I could walk again. It was I was like a baby. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even move in the bed without help from somebody.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's worse than what I went through. I mean, I went through similar, but not. I mean, man, mine was like a couple of weeks. I can't imagine 2 months.
because I had the history of drug use, the hospital was they had my record,
Mm.
and also I was there because technically what I had was endocarditis, which is common in IV drug users. But I had been clean for a number of years at this point,
Mm.
and I've been clean for like 10 years now,
Mm.
and the so they. They wouldn't give me any pain medication in after surgery. All they would give me was
Advil.
Tylenol,
Oh,
and they
that was
uh,
OxyContin, man. I was tripping.
well, not only would they not give me pain medicine, but I take gabapentin for nerve damage to my legs from back injury, and I take gabapentin for that, and they took that away from me too. So they wouldn't even give me the medicine I was already on.
Oh,
And it's a narcotic, and you do go through withdrawals when you're not taking it.
so you
And
were going through
so,
withdrawals at the same time.
yeah, so I was, yeah. Not only was I in incredible, which the withdrawals were nothing compared to the pain I was in,
Yeah.
but they put me on very extensive IV therapy that had to be monitored with blood tests every single day, because the particular antibiotics they were using, vancomycin, um, it can become toxic to you if the level builds up too far. So
Mm.
they have to take your blood every single night to check, and
Yeah, I remember
and
getting.
they couldn't take it from my IV or anything because I'm on IV therapy. So I had to get poked
They didn't put a
every night at
little.
like 4 a.m.
They didn't put like a
And
little pipe, a little thing in you that they could just.
I had a pick line for my IV,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
because they had
Um,
installed something for me. They could just come in and plug in and take.
well, they didn't want to do that because I was on IV therapy and the risk of infection, putting
Oh,
another tube there,
mm.
and also with the history of drug use, they don't want to give you a line that you can inject anything into.
Oh, jeez.
And so, yeah, so I was treated like shit for the most part. I ate really good, but I spent 2 months in the hospital recovering, and it was about it was it was over probably a year and a half before I said, okay, I'm as recovered as I'm going to get. I never made it back to 100%, but I'm here, and I survived my history of heroin use and drugs,
Mm.
where most of my friends are dead. I know more dead people than alive people at this point,
Mm.
and I I survived that, and then I survived the heart surgery stuff that didn't look good. I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and things were not looking great. And I survived those things. So to me, it's I now leverage that to have meaningful conversations with others, because when I go, I don't want my legacy to be the guy that went to prison and used drugs and
Right.
cheated death a couple times. Like,
Right.
I want people to know that I at least made an attempt to try and make the world a little bit of a better place for everyone. Um,
That's
and
good.
if this, I've understood the fact that, like, there's not, how many people do you know that are over 40, 300 pounds with an artificial heart valve, right? Like, that it's not a good thing to be. And I understand that. And so I try to leave some sort of something that my family, my kids can look at and say, hey, my dad was a good person, or he tried to do this and that. And that really has a lot to do with why I chose this particular format to do this. Like,
Mm.
I was an activist, before. I guess I was already doing things, but before I started the YouTube channel, but like, the YouTube channel was just a way to preserve that. And because I don't believe there's an afterlife and a God that's gonna, forgive me and make me not have to answer for all the horrible things that I did. Um, because that doesn't exist, the time that we have here is very valuable. And in that time, do I want to leave this wake of destruction and death and everything that came from the things that I did, or can I show that you can overcome those things and try to do things and use your whatever abilities or even desires you have to do good things. And so that's why I'm here doing this. And sorry to get so deep on you folks. um,
Yeah. Oh, that's great though, man. I mean, you really helped me out. So I can't thank you enough. And
well,
I'll be
I, I'm always I, I'm always willing to help somebody out who's trying to do the right thing. Like, even if you suck at it, which you don't, you're very good at what you do. But even if you're bad at it, and there's, I'll be honest with you, but at the same time, I'll help in any way I can. Like, even if, like, if I say, hey, this probably ain't gonna work for you, and you say, well, I'm gonna do it anyway, I'm like, well, okay, I'm here to help. Like, I may not agree with your action, but as long as you're not harming anything and your heart's in the right place to try and help people and try to shed light on good ideas instead of bad ideas, like,
right.
hey,
That's the point. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
And you
And
never
and
know. People grow. People can improve.
I think that I think that you would find that a lot of people in this community are very similar in those ideas. Um, the secular humanist perspective, like,
Mm.
I want to do the things that are good for man and humankind and flourishing, and I want to, the things that are harmful or negative or not beneficial to that. I want to point them out in
Try to.
some way, whether it be mockery or
Yeah.
discussion or whatever, and point to them, and they say sunlight is the best disinfectant. And since the country voted a dictator into office that says that you can
Well,
inject
he,
bleach and
well, he did.
put
Yeah. He
light
said
in
we
the
should
body,
shine a bright light in the body.
yeah, just get a light. And
Man's a genius.
yes, I mean, the 4D chess this guy's playing, like, he had it all figured
You
out.
know the
As soon as
story. You know the story behind the bright light and the disinfectant. Do you know how he ended up with that?
well, I know that they had tried to explain to him
They
the
were talking
things
about
that
children's playing outside on like seesaws and stuff, and they said that they don't have to worry about COVID because sunlight behaves like a disinfectant. And he heard that and he thought, oh, we could inject disinfectant or
they.
shine a bright light in people's bodies.
Oh boy, in fact, I love all
That's
the
our president.
I love all the meme videos that show the the science lady sitting over there like cringing
Oh,
while he's saying those
yeah,
things.
just
It's
please don't talk to
yeah,
me.
yeah. That was one of the it's crazy to me because it actually kind of relates to what we talk about when we talk about religion, because it's like you have people that just blindly support this person that can do no wrong. Like, it doesn't matter. The facts, information
It,
doesn't matter.
it just
Like,
astounds me that he's more popular with evangelicals than George Bush was. And this is a guy who, you know, basically
so
sexually assaulted a woman. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. 34 felony
yeah,
count
yeah,
indictment that he got
yeah.
sentenced on
He's got
for
more
nothing.
support, more support.
Yeah, he grew. And that says a lot about our country. But one of the things, I had a discussion a couple nights ago with a very good friend. But her and I were talking, and she said, you need to recognize that it's 60% of white cisgender men that voted Trump into office. And and that conversation has more nuance to it. She's making an important point there. But so I got into looking at the Pew research on those numbers and stuff to better understand the discussion we're having. And that is true. And most of them are religious, right? Christian nationalism is a big thing.
Hell yeah.
And what I found is that whenever you go into the numbers of those that that are Christian and believed and all that stuff, if you just by taking away a portion of that, you flip those numbers, and Trump has a minority vote at that point.
Right.
And so, even though I think there is a way big conversation to have about systematic racism and bigotry and white privilege and all of those things, I think there is lots to talk about there.
Mm.
The thing that I do and that you do is we make videos pointing at the absurdity of religion or explaining some aspect adjacent to it. And although that doesn't address the bigger problem, it's still an attempt to help sway that, like it, because if you take Christianity, if you take religion out of that equation,
Yeah.
Trump only gets like 40% of
Right.
white voters. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He loses by a lot.
Yeah.
And speaking of my close friend, what's up, MFers? So yeah, we had a really good conversation over on Stephanie Helm's channel about that, and so I think that while there are these huge issues that need addressing and need to work on, we're doing something though, right? Like there's starting at this part of it is an effective way to help change that. And it takes people of all these perspectives and all these different things to do that. It takes people understanding and being able to empathize and being able to show tolerance to your fellow human beings. That's not what the Pew numbers reflected, Sumami, but that's just what. And I'm not saying that it's because of religion. That wasn't the idea I was trying to express. I was just trying to say that it does have an effect that is part of the problem as well. Like I don't disagree that there's a huge problem with racism and white privilege, and that I agree white males are the thing that got Trump elected. I agree with every point you're making. So please don't misunderstand me. We can talk again here in a minute, though, when this ends, if you want, Somami. I'll give you a link and you can drop in after we go off air. If you want. It cut us off while we were trying to talk the other night after the thing on Stephanie's channel. I didn't close it. I guess it boots you out after so long. But if you want to talk to me for a few minutes afterwards, tell me and I'll give you a link and we can talk like off air. We can talk on air sometime too if you want. I don't care. But yeah. Anyway, that's just one aspect, and the point I was trying to make, then I got way off in the weeds there, is that like we with individual channels may not be capable of making these huge changes in the things that obviously need changed and the things that obviously need fixed. But some sort of action to address the people and the problems and things related to this is better than no action at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And building a community and being able to come together and work together to fight against those problems makes us even stronger to
Right.
fight the harmful ideals, uh, including the racism and the bigotry and all that other stuff that are a huge problem in the United States. And so I think that most everybody here probably shares that sentiment in some form and would be more than happy to work with you and whatever. And you're willing to collaborate with people and come on channels and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
did Neil the 604 Atheist reach out to you?
No, I not yet. Or
Okay.
yeah.
I gave him your email and he said he's going to contact you.
All right.
He's probably just backed up on scheduling because they always have all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm here, man. I'm willing to, talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, just Sumami, I'm not saying religion is the reason that people are that way. I'm just saying in that demographic, it shows that the number within that number of white people is high enough that that it would, if religion wasn't counted, that it would flip the results of that. And again, it doesn't fix the problem that you still have half of white Americans that are that way. But just in, but
it might change a few.
yeah,
Certainly help.
and it doesn't guarantee that. I'm just saying that it has a positive effect on that metric, right?
Yeah. If you're
Yeah.
not engaged in all this Christian dogma, that's teaching you that to be anti-gay and anti-trans and that there's so much ingrained in that when you take it so seriously, so literally.
Yeah.
And that's really my angle is I don't have a problem with Christians. I don't believe personally. I know a lot of Christians that are really nice people,
Sure.
and I have no problem with them. But they're not the problem. They're not the ones behaving this way. That's why I always say it's the fundamentalists that I
Well,
go after. It's
Stephanie Helms.
that literalism.
Stephanie Helms, I quote her all the time in this, and she did. It's not her quote necessarily, but she said it, and I think of it, and it's a lot to do with how I operate. Um, I don't give a shit what you believe. I could care. You believe whatever makes you happy and makes you want to be a good person and make the world
That's
better.
the outcome. That should be the goal.
I don't care what you believe. I care about what you do.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people
unfortunately,
yeah.
Christianity does have those call to action, right? And
you can cherry pick whatever you want out of it to justify the personality that you already have, and
there are so many racist and bigotry based groups that is founded from Christianity.
Right.
And it's been that way forever, and not forever, obviously, but it's been that way for a long time in this country. And they used the Bible and Christianity to promote slavery, and then used it to abolish slavery. And they've yeah,
we were a little
they've just operated in a lot of horrible, immoral ways. And now we have the point to where Americans here in this country, and not because of religion, but with religion being one of the major contributors to this, Christian nationalism, take that out of the picture and it absolutely flips the election, no question about it, right? Like by a landslide. But unfortunately, we have this number of Americans that has elected a bigot and a rapist, racist, fraudster, awful person into power, and then they want to argue about morality. And it's like you had you voted, you took the trouble to go out of your house and vote for a person who has been convicted or held liable for rape,
Yeah.
and has been convicted of fraud, who stole our nation's document and has done nothing but attack transgender people and try to make their lives horrible or make them not exist. And you voted for that
Mexicans,
person.
you know, I mean,
So when we talk about morality and the Bible says all this shit about turn the other cheek and love thy enemy and all that shit, like, it's hard for me to take you serious when
right,
you come at
right.
me with that, right?
They don't realize what fools they're presenting themselves as.
Yeah,
So it's up to me to point that out.
exactly. And even if you don't have, because look, if we could organize and take this country back in whatever method we got to do it, I'm down. Like for real down. Like, get a hold of me. But like,
You sound like my buddy.
on my own, like, the only thing I know to do is use my voice and my platform to talk about those things,
Yeah.
and to try and help, in whatever way I can, that way to bring people together and to correct bad ideas with good ideas. That's really what it all comes down to. But
Yeah.
yeah. So what are you working on? What you got coming up next, or do you know?
Well, I have a couple ideas. I'm probably going to do a few shorts next. I got a few ideas there, but I was thinking of doing something about Noah's Ark. Actually, I was going to do. I don't know if you saw the one. I'm pretending to be the preacher, and there's a guy in the audience that's heckling me.
Yeah.
So I was thinking I could do that kind of a setup with. He's talking about the flood, and then the guy's going to heckle me and, like, just lay all the science down on me, and as we get into that kind of, I just haven't written it yet. It's going to take me a little while to write that. And then I was also thinking I could do something with like how Professor Dave has these debunking videos, but then people take his debunking videos and they debunk that. Have you
Yeah,
seen,
yeah, right.
aware of that? Like, some creationists will take,
Oh
like,
yeah.
his video. So I was thinking I might do something, a spoof of that, where it's like me and Jesus
Responding.
responding
Yeah.
to Dave
Yeah.
and making asses out of ourselves the whole.
That would be fun.
Yeah, so
And
that's
if
another
if
one.
if you ever need a hand or need somebody to stand in, especially on something funny, or you need help, holler at me. I'd love to collaborate with you
Yeah,
on anything.
absolutely, man, absolutely.
And I'm sure one of my recent recorded videos was 10 stupid claims that creationists
Right.
make to atheists, right?
Right.
And I included 8 other creators in that video. So
Yeah.
I'm always looking to work with other people to do
Yeah,
things
I'm
that
looking
help
for
people.
ideas too. So, like, collab videos. Like, if you have an idea for a collab video, that
Yeah.
we do, and I'm all ears.
All right. So I guess with that, let's say our goodbyes and get out of here. One
Man.
more time, tell everybody where you're at and what you do.
Well, the original Answerman on YouTube, and just come to laugh at the absurdity of the reality that we're faced with these days, and it's a place to just come and decompress. I hope, for a lot of
Right
people.
on.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I want to say thank you to everybody that came. I hope you click
Yeah,
the
same.
like and subscribe button. I mentioned joining as a membership and all that stuff, but really the biggest thing you can do to help my channel out is just like the video or subscribe or leave a comment or share it. Sharing's great.
Sharon's good.
Any of those things, and for sure, go over and subscribe to the original Answerman on YouTube. It's a really, as you've seen, we watched some of it. We've talked with Alex and got to know him. You seem like a really great guy, and like you're trying to do good things. And I look forward to seeing your channel grow and you grow within this community, because I think you're going to form a lot of YouTube networking relationships, maybe real friends and stuff eventually too. And I think it's going to make you even better at what you do. So I really look forward to what you come out with. I think it's going to be good.
It's been great talking to you. You've been a great help, and let's keep going.
It's been my honor to get to have this, and none of this would have happened without Ember.
Yeah.
I already know all of you are subscribed to Ember's channel, but if you're not, at Better Than Ember in YouTube, and Ember's the one that put me on the trail of Alex, and I went and watched some of his content, and I was like, hey, Ember, we need to figure out how to get a hold of this guy. I don't have an email. And Ember tracked down your email and gave it to me, and that's how we got here. And I have referred you to Neil the 604 Atheist, and I expect he'll want to do that sometime. So look forward to that in your email.
Yeah.
I will share this video with him so that he also knows, that you're interested. Yeah, and PC Pragmatic Crystal, thank you for being a wonderful mod. And Aunt Jer, if you're still here, thank you too for helping out in the chat. I know that lately we've had some trolls and stuff, and you guys have done a really great job. So I always want to, anytime I can, give a big shout out to my members and stuff. Hold on.
Getting dizzy.
Yeah, sorry about that. I have something special here for the members. I'll wait till the chat finishes catching up. Or not the members, for my mods, for the wonderful work they do. Pay attention. Don't leave yet, guys. Here we go. We'll give you...
Thanks for all the comments, guys. I really appreciate all the positive feedback.
Oh, the layers behind us. That sucks.
What are we doing?
Well, I have... hold on, I'm fixing it. There we go.
Is that the grand finale?
Yeah, that's I wanted to put that out there for my members. And if you're a creationist watching this video, I have something special for you too. It's right here.
I think you're in the way of it.
Yeah. Hold on, let me one more time here, because I don't want you to be confused. I want to make sure. There you go. Yeah, that's for you. That's for you and all your constant always. All right. Enough playing around. I'm just messing around at this point. All right. And Native Atheist, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It really helps, and I appreciate all the support you've given this channel over time. You've been great, and you're always here. You always show up and interact and behave yourself and all those things. So I really appreciate that. Thanks so much to everybody that came and watched today. I will be back on in the next couple of days with a some sort of members only stream. I may do it tomorrow. It may be Tuesday. It'll probably be during the day at some point and go on for a few hours. So if you want to, if you want to catch that, again, click the join button down there and become a member. Let me get this banner off of screen here. And also, this evening I will be on Skeptic Spin with Justin and Al, and we are going to talk a little bit about the politics of Canada. And they wanted an American to, well, the view that Canadians have on American politics and how it relates to Canadian politics. But I'm going to be the token American in that case. And so I put a link in the chat there for Skeptic Spin. Go over there and check that out this evening at, I think 7:30 is when he's doing it. But you know, you have to go look. I'm not sure on that one, but I'll be over there this evening, and I look forward to many, 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 many more conversations. And with that, everybody, thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.